What would you write in a letter if you had one chance to ask a stranger for the impossible? A 7-year-old girl named Emma sat at her kitchen table with a crayon and a piece of notebook paper, writing the most heartbreaking request you can imagine. Dear Miss Harrison, my mommy died, and I don't remember what it feels like to have a mom. Can I borrow you for just one day? That letter found its way to one of the most powerful businesswomen in America, and what happened next didn't just change Emma's life. It revealed a truth about grief, childhood, and human connection that we all need to hear. Jennifer Harrison was the CEO of a Fortune 500 technology company, managing 12,000 employees across 6 continents. Her days were measured in 15-minute increments. Her decisions affected billions of dollars, and her time was arguably the most valuable commodity she possessed. She received hundreds of emails daily, most filtered by assistants who protected her schedule like guardians at a gate. But on an ordinary Wednesday in March, a handwritten letter in a pink envelope somehow made it past every layer of corporate infrastructure and landed directly on her desk. The handwriting was shaky, the spelling imperfect, and the paper had what appeared to be dried tear stains in the corners. It read, "Dear Miss Harrison, my name is Emma, and I am 7 years old. My mommy died when I was 4, and I don't remember her very much. My daddy tries really hard, but he's sad a lot. I saw you on TV talking about business, and you smiled like my mommy used to smile in pictures. I know you are very busy, but could I borrow you for one day? Just to remember what having a mom feels like. I promise I will be good. Love, Emma." Jennifer sat at her desk, staring at that letter for 20 minutes while meetings piled up and her assistant knocked 3 times. She later admitted that she cried, something she rarely allowed herself to do, especially at work. The letter had been forwarded by a local elementary school where Jennifer had given a career day presentation weeks earlier. Emma's teacher had helped her find the address, never expecting the letter would actually reach its destination. But it had. And now Jennifer faced a choice that had nothing to do with quarterly earnings or market strategy and everything to do with the kind of person she wanted to be. Emma's story was one that thousands of families live, but few talk about openly. Her mother, Rachel, had died suddenly from an undiagnosed heart condition when Emma was just 4 years old. One moment she was reading Emma a bedtime story, and hours later she was gone, leaving behind a devastated husband and a little girl too young to fully comprehend the permanence of death. Emma's father, David, had done everything humanly possible to be both parents. He learned to braid hair by watching YouTube tutorials. He researched how to talk to young girls about puberty because he knew those conversations were coming. He kept photo albums of Rachel everywhere so Emma would know her mother's face. But David couldn't fill the specific void that Emma felt growing inside her. She saw her friends with their mothers at school pickup, at birthday parties, at dance recitals. She watched mothers braid their daughters' hair, help them pick out clothes, whisper secrets, and share giggles in ways that felt like a language Emma was never taught. According to the National Alliance for Grieving Children, over 5 million American children have experienced the death of a parent or sibling. These children face increased risks of depression, anxiety, academic struggles, and long-term psychological challenges. But beyond the statistics lies something harder to quantify: the ache of absence, the longing for something you can barely remember but desperately miss. Emma had tried to articulate her feelings to her father, but she could see how much it hurt him when she talked about missing a mother she barely remembered. So she started keeping those feelings inside, until the day she saw Jennifer Harrison on television during a news segment about successful female entrepreneurs. Something about Jennifer's warmth, her laugh, her presence sparked a hope in Emma that maybe, just for a moment, she could borrow what she'd lost. The letter was a 7-year-old's attempt to solve an unsolvable problem, to fill an unfillable void, to reach across the impossible distance between grief and healing. Jennifer Harrison had her own ghosts. She'd built her career with relentless focus, sacrificing relationships, postponing marriage, and ultimately choosing not to have children because she believed she couldn't be both the mother she'd want to be and the CEO she'd worked so hard to become. That choice had brought her success, wealth, and influence, but also a quiet wondering about what she'd given up. Emma's letter arrived like a question from the universe itself. What is success worth if it doesn't serve something beyond yourself? Jennifer cleared her entire schedule for a Saturday 3 weeks later. She didn't announce it to the press. didn't frame it as a corporate social responsibility initiative, didn't even tell her board of directors. This wasn't about optics or branding. This was about a little girl who'd asked for something simple and profound, and about a woman who'd spent decades building walls around her emotions and suddenly found herself wanting to tear them down. She contacted Emma's father through the school, explained who she was and what she wanted to do, and asked permission to spend a day with his daughter. David, overwhelmed and grateful, said yes. The day Jennifer spent with Emma wasn't extravagant or flashy. They didn't go to Disneyland or shop on Fifth Avenue. Instead, Jennifer picked Emma up on a sunny Saturday morning, and they spent the day doing ordinary things that suddenly felt extraordinary. They made pancakes together in Jennifer's kitchen, with Emma standing on a stool and carefully measuring ingredients. They went to a park and flew a kite, with Jennifer running alongside Emma and laughing in a way her colleagues would never have recognized. They painted their nails in matching colors and watched a princess movie while eating popcorn. They talked about everything and nothing. Favorite colors, scary dreams, what clouds look like, whether butterflies remember being caterpillars. But the most powerful moment came in the afternoon when they sat in Jennifer's garden and Emma asked the question she'd been holding all day. "Miss Harrison, what do you think my mommy would want me to know?" Jennifer felt her heart crack open. She took Emma's small hand in hers and said words she hadn't known she had inside her. "I think your mommy would want you to know that love doesn't end when someone dies. It changes shape, but it never disappears. She would want you to know that it's okay to be sad, but it's also okay to be happy. She would want you to live a big, beautiful life full of joy and adventure. And she would want you to know that you're not alone, even when it feels that way." Emma looked up with tears in her eyes and said something that Jennifer would remember for the rest of her life. "Thank you for being my mom today. It helped me remember." In that moment, Jennifer understood that she hadn't given Emma a substitute mother or filled an impossible void. She'd simply offered presence, attention, and love to a child who desperately needed all three. And in doing so, she'd received something herself. A reminder that all the professional success in the world couldn't compare to the simple act of showing up for someone who needed her. Jennifer's day with Emma didn't end when she drove her home that evening. It transformed both of their lives in ways neither could have predicted. For Emma, that single day became a touchstone, a memory she could return to whenever she felt the ache of her mother's absence. She learned that asking for help isn't weakness, that people can surprise you with their kindness, and that love can come from unexpected places. Her teacher reported that Emma seemed lighter afterward, more willing to engage, more confident in herself. For Jennifer, the impact was even more profound. She began volunteering with an organization that connects grieving children with mentors and positive role models. She restructured her company's parental leave policies and created support programs for employees dealing with family loss. She became an advocate for childhood grief awareness, using her platform to shine light on a crisis that affects millions of families but receives far too little attention or resources. She later told a journalist, "I spent 20 years building a career, but Emma taught me in a single day what success actually means. It means using whatever privilege, resources, or time you have to show up for people who need you." The story eventually became public when Emma, now a teenager, wrote about it in an essay that won a national writing competition. The essay went viral, inspiring thousands of people to reach out to children and families in their own communities who were struggling with loss. It sparked a movement called Borrow a Parent that connects children who've lost parents with volunteers willing to offer mentorship, time, and support. The program now operates in 43 states and has matched over 8,000 children with caring adults who show up for them in meaningful ways.